Hi, it's Jacqueline or Galacticat, and today I'm going to be painting Rapunzel. If you follow me on other social media like Facebook or Instagram, you'd know that I actually specialise in pet portraits and animals. But today I wanted to experiment by drawing a face. I've been experimenting a little bit with this style, and again, if you follow me on Facebook, you would have seen my experiments posted there. But it's a very stylistic approach, and it's something that I've always admired in other artists. But until recently, I never thought that I could actually do it myself. Usually, when I do humans in a painting or a drawing, it's in the form of really cartoony style. So, I do my Pokemon trainer drawings, and I've done digital couple portraits before, which I'll put in a little photo so you can see what I mean. But it was never something that I was proud of it when I was doing it, and I thought that they looked pretty cool, and that I was shocked that I could produce something like that because I have never really been great at faces. But it wasn't this type of art style that I really admire. And up until recently, I honestly thought that I could never pull it off. But I've been watching a lot of YouTube, and I've been inspired by a lot of people on Instagram. So people like Piper's art has been a really big inspiration for me lately. You can find her here on YouTube as well as Instagram. And other people like Alicia Nye and Smoused Art and even Mo Douth, they're huge inspirations for me, and I guess I've been watching these people for so long that I must have subconsciously picked up certain styles from each of them, and I just sat down one day, decided to do this sketch, and this piece of art came out, and I was really surprised with myself. I'll link all of these people in the description box below because they've got some really great tutorials, which I guess are the things that subconsciously stuck in my mind to help me make this art piece. So if you want to check them out, go ahead to those links. But yeah, so I thought doing Disney princesses might have been a good start for me. So I didn't look up proper reference photos of faces, which is how I was doing my art before, and instead I just looked at the Disney princess themselves and thought, how can I adapt this into the art style that I want to portray? I started off with Moana, which it didn't turn out how I expected it to, so I do want to revisit that at some point. But then the second one I did was this one of Rapunzel. I'll put in the original sketch so you can see that as well. And then I thought it would be interesting to try and translate it into a watercolor piece. So I replicated that sketch onto my watercolor paper, and here is how my experiment turned out. I started with the most basic lines that I could put into a drawing because I knew that I was going to go over it again with watercolor, and also I used a Prismacolor to outline it as well. So I didn't want to put too much detail into that initial sketch, and I just did what I needed to for the guidelines. Doing that hair was so much fun because usually I'm quite a rigid sketcher, and it allowed me to loosen up and be a little bit more free and figure out, or not figure out, but just let my mind go and let my pencil go where it wanted to on the paper rather than me overthinking every single line. I do still have a lot to learn and a long way to go, but I know that that fluidity and movement in the sketches is going to come with practice and experience, because I've always been that type of person that does overthink every line and tries to make everything perfect. And I want to use this technique of sketching as a way to loosen up and to just not think as much about the piece as I do currently. Even when I go in with the watercolor, I think that by the end of it, I do start to overthink it and put a little bit too much detail in than what I intended to originally. I wanted it to be a kind of loose piece, but because of my style and my brain that overthinks everything, I did end up putting a little bit more than I had originally planned. Oh my gosh, I ramble on so much in my videos. I'm so sorry. But hopefully, this maybe would help someone that's in the same position and trying to find their art style and what vibes with them. And that they know that they're not alone. Like, if this is you, if I'm talking to you, you aren't alone. And every artist goes through this at some point. So, I wanted to document my thoughts and my processes for you guys so you can see what happens in my head and maybe relate to it in your own art style and art journey, no matter where you are, how much skill that you think you have or don't have. Because trust me, if you keep going, you will eventually reach an art style that you like. And that's where I'm at the moment. I just want to reach a style that I have in my head, and I want to be able to replicate that on paper instead of replicating something completely different, which is what I tend to do. So yeah, you're not alone. We're in this together, and yeah, I hope you enjoy watching my journey, and I hope that it helps you through yours. Okay, so I just want to go through my processes that I went through to create this piece with you guys. As I said before, I had previously sketched this out in my little sketchbook, and I replicated it as close as I could with my mechanical pencil onto 300 GSM watercolor paper. I just use a brand called Araldo de Paulo. I get it from my local Raya Art and Craft store. So before, you would have seen me using my kneadable eraser to lighten up my pencil sketches, and now I'm going over those lines with a Prismacolor pencil just to darken those up. I saw Piper's Art use this technique in one of her videos, and I really liked the final outcome, so I thought that I would give it a go in this experiment that I was trying here. I think next time I might just stick with the pencil outlines and see how I go going straight in with watercolor. But in the end, I do like how this turned out. I just think that if I tried just the watercolor technique, it would turn out a little bit more loose and a little bit more free rather than this very structured, very detailed type of art piece that I've got here. I am open to suggestions as well, and I really did like the Prismacolor, but I thought it was very soft. I want to stay away from fine liners, but if you have a suggestion that has worked well for you or that you'd like to see me try, leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm pretty happy with the piece at this point, so I add my little signature, and I changed it up a little bit if you've noticed. I decided instead of my usual J and heart that I put on my pet portraits, that I would put my personal work with a little GC for Galacticat. I know it's such a weird and random little detail, but I really do like my new little signature. I've always wanted something cool and unique to put on my pieces, and I came up with this little tiny signature, and I'm so happy with it. And yeah, let me have this moment, okay? So you see me now working on the skin, and you've got to keep in mind that I'm a pet portrait artist, so I'm used to doing fur. And skin was a bit of a different challenge for me. I didn't find it hard as such, but I think I got to a point where I could have left it and it would have looked fine, but instead I kept going. I don't think it ruined the piece. I think the piece still looks really good. And I do this with my pet portraits anyway, where I keep going. My mind keeps saying, no, add more, more, more. And I want a more loose style, and I want to kind of create my art style to be a little bit more free and a little bit less detailed. So I think I could have stopped at a certain point, but yeah, so it's just something that I'm going to have to learn as I go, and how to learn the medium in a new style. I think one of my biggest issues is that, one, I use a lot of water, and I find that instead of leaving blank space, I like to fill all of the space, and I want to learn how to leave that patchiness, I think. And also the fact that I sit there and get very absorbed and very passionate about the piece that I'm creating. And I want to learn how to kind of step back and look at the piece rather than trying to finish it all as a whole. Watercolor is a very patient medium where you should be stepping back and waiting for it to dry and then going in with the next layer. And I find that I just want to get it all done all at the same time, and again, I get very absorbed and very passionate about the piece that I'm working on, and I want to learn how to be a little bit more loose. So real quick, I want to jump into why I chose Rapunzel. I've actually drawn her once before for my best friend's birthday, and I'll show you a little photo of that in the screen right now. But it was nice to be able to see that very traditional style that I did back then. That was pretty much exactly the Disney princess. I just pretty much copied it and wrote it on a little birthday card. And it's nice to see that I could do that, and now I'm at a point where I can stylize that and put it into a completely different type of artwork. And it's really cool to compare that and to see that progress through those years, because I think that was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, so it's a nice comparison. So now you see me going in with the details of the hair. I, again, put a little bit too much detail in the hair, and I think it would have worked fine without all that detail. But again, it's going to be a matter of finding my vibe and how I like to do things and how I like to work with the watercolor medium in this style. And it's all going to be a learning experience, and you guys are going to learn along with me. So compared to my very first watercolor face that I tried back in, I think like 2018, I'll again post a little photo up in the video for you to see. Don't laugh too much. I tried to draw Khaleesi, and it's interesting, but this is a vast improvement over that, considering it's the only one that I've done since then. Like, I don't think I've tried watercolor faces other than little cartoony manga Pokemon trainers since that point, and seeing that comparison is so cool. I definitely keep all your work, take photos of all your work, even if you hate it, so then you can compare it later. Even if it's years and years later, you will see the comparison and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've come so far. Anyway, so now I'm going in and putting a little bit more shading and blush into her face, and then I go in with some more gold tones into her beautiful long flowing locks. So that's pretty much what I do for the rest of the video. I add in more and more shading and more detail into her hair. Again, there was a point where I probably could have left the detail where it was. I think the fact that I'd done that outline in a burgundy color, I wanted to kind of match that in a way, and I went a little bit overboard. That's why I think next time I would try it with just the pencil sketch and go straight in with watercolor and see how it turns out. In saying that, I really do love the finished piece on this, so much so that I actually made art prints. So if you want to support me, support my channel and support my art, please go check out the link that I've left in the description box below and consider buying an art print. I've done prints of this finished watercolor piece as well as the original sketch that I had done as well. Anyway, I'll stop blabbering on now and let you guys watch the rest of this video. If you guys want to see the other Disney princesses that I've already sketched, make sure to check out my Instagram page and chuck me a follow over there. I've already done Ariel, Pocahontas, Jasmine, and I've also done Celeste from Animal Crossing as a human. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. And make sure to subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos in the future of my little art journey that I'm on right now, because chances are that I'll be posting more videos like this one where I'm exploring my new art style and exploring new techniques in watercolor. I'm also considering doing something like a live stream with this kind of style where I can just sit with you guys and chill with you guys and talk to you while I'm doing this type of art style, so I have someone to keep me company. But if that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comment section below. I just have to get my hands on a webcam, which are in short supply right now because everyone's doing conference calls and webcams are selling out everywhere. So yeah, hopefully I can get that up and running soon. But yeah, until then, let me know in the comments what you think about that idea and if you would be interested in watching me do this live. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to watch till the end so you can see the finished outcome. And yeah, make sure to check out the links that I've left in the description box below so you can purchase the art print and so you can check out my inspirations on Instagram and YouTube as well.